Is that the first step? Like grown, start to have a lot of meeting of different schools, launch this product, start to see what happened. What's the feeling of the schools? What the feeling of the counselor? And we're super open to change again if the counselor needs another feature, of they don't understand the same that way that they look the relationship of the Latin American market.
I'm excited. And yes, for those that we're hearing that right, he did secure an amazing pre-seed round of funding off of all of the hard work that he's been doing. And yes, Alvaro and I met through an organization called Starta Ventures. They are a really awesome accelerator community here in New York City that I'm an entrepreneur in residence and coach for. And I had the chance to work with Alvaro a little bit, and we hit it off right away. Partly because Alvaro has a lot of energy as a millennial entrepreneur who not only is running a company, he is also an adjunct professor. He's also a mentor for Startup Chile, giving back to his communities. And it's really important, when we look at the communities that we serve, and Bear Nation knows this, that we want to be kind of that community that other communities connect with, and help grow the communities. And every episode we give back through a philanthropic organization called Phin. And so mission and impact is really important to us. And so these
Yeah.
are all the reasons that Alvaro and I just like connected immediately. We only got to work together for like a week or two. Then the program was over. And now he is going to be on a plane back to New York City to officially launch BraveUp in the US. So we are excited to have you on the show, Alvaro. And I want to get to your journey, but I think a really good place to start, because I made a big point about the mission and impact, is tell me a little bit about what is BraveUp and what are you trying to do when you say we're stopping bullying across the world?
Yeah. Well, BraveUp was born like an app, like a social media to this said generation. Like they're super. They love the technology, they love the apps, they love the smartphone. But half of the young people in the world are victims of bullying. I mean, like more than 150 millions of kids say like, yes, I'm victim of bullying. It's like, and for me, it was like, well, you have this huge problem. They love the technology, so let's bring something like that. This first app. And after 5 years of working with different schools, now BraveUp is a software to prevent, predict, and detect bullying and cyberbullying. Is a SaaS, is a software as a service that the counselors of the schools use. That's my main user, the counselor team, the counselor of the school. They have all the tools, they have resource, videos, activities, everything to work with the students, to work with the teachers, we work with the parents, and we have two small service to the students, and we created this algorithm where we could predict this bullying. I mean, the students they choose the names of the classmate guys of the generation, and they say like, Robbie is my best friend. We have five in relationship, but with Carlos, it's not that good. So we have two, and this algorithm create this network, and we can tell to the counselor and to the teacher, hey, take care with Carlos because all the students are saying that he's maybe victim of bullying. That tools, that information helps to the counselor and to the school staff to manage the money, manage the interventions, and know exactly what's happening inside of school and also on the internet.
That's amazing. And so, what was about, bullying, and when we were starting this, you started this an app and as a social experiment, and, you know, bullying is a big problem.
Yeah.
And it's something that, when we were in school, it was done a little differently because we didn't have online tools. We got those, kind of post college. And to be honest, I'm kind of glad
Yeah.
it was all post college that it really happened, because my life would have
Mm.
probably been different. But as you saw this unfolding, and as you're, you know, seeing this play out, what was it that really struck you that this needed to be something you addressed specifically?
Yeah. It I mean, we all saw bullying in the school. I mean, it's like, yeah, I wasn't a victim of bullying. Never in my school life. I had a really good school life. I played tennis. I had my girlfriend. I had like a normal school moment in my 12 years, in a typical middle class school, 1,200 students, a big school, but normal experience. But I saw the problem, I could empathize with these situations, and after many years, after the university, after everything, when we create this first social experiment, this first app, and we launch this in the school, and the student, this is the most, for me, the most important part of everything of this journey, that is BraveUp, that I created this app with one idea, and a girl used this to report that she was victim of bullying. She told me like, "Hey, I think that this is good for this." Boom. And when I received this message, it was like I wasn't victim, but wow, this is tough. This is not good. This is not okay. What's happening in the school? And when I started to talk with the school, they didn't know what to do. I mean, they had some ideas, they have some protocols, some like structure of stuff, but not much. Not like, yeah, don't worry, I'm going to do something with this, and this. So I saw that, and it was like, wow. I mean, I was 25. I was a kid. I was 25. I never was. I didn't. I haven't been working in any other place that is braver. It's like what? It's like my first experience. So I think that was the that a girl used my platform to that important issue, and that important like personal stuff that to me changed everything. And I didn't care if I didn't leave that, or if it was not too close. It was like, let's care about it. Let's do something.
Yeah, so I think it's really unique. You built something and somebody used it, and then it was kind of like a amazing moment. One, to have your product used, but two, to then like, where do we go from here? How do we fix this? And it became a really personal issue for you, when somebody uses your product and you don't know how to take it to the next step. And I think that's really interesting. And it's I think what you're doing is amazing, and I love the name Brave Up, and I want to get into that here because um, I was bullied at one point in my life. I grew up with a twin brother, and I think that that was a bit intimidating for others, and so at times we got bullied, and some very vivid memories across middle school, junior
Yeah,
high, and high school of those times, and one of the I played sports, but one of the reasons that I started really working out when I got to high school, um, was I started getting bigger, and
yeah.
I had a twin. And
I want
when
to be
you're,
tougher. Yeah,
people kind of like, oh, okay, maybe not. And then, I was also, you wouldn't think it now, I was also really shy uh, when I was younger. And it was through this exploration of finding myself and going to the gym and having been bullied that I grew to be more of a talker. In fact, one of the things that got me in trouble with is I became a people pleaser because I was so afraid of getting bullied again that I just started pleasing everybody. And that became its own problem. But bullying has a very special place in my heart, and I've seen it happen to not only myself but my younger brother. Both my younger brothers got bullied back in the day, and I was away in college and couldn't do anything about it. And it was just a different world. And so, it's also scary, right? You have to
yeah.
be brave to stand up and say something about it. So let's talk about the name. Why Brave Up? How did that come
Well,
about?
first of all, thanks to Cherry. I mean, I know that this is hard. I know that it's like sometimes it's like 10, 20, 30 years of that moment, and you remember that, and you connect, and you like feel it. So like, thanks for that. And because yeah, I know. And the first idea was this report, I mean, and not just for the victim. That was the first idea to me, because the point was like, I know the victim needs this. I know that all the international bibliography, the studies, the universities, everything, everybody says that the schools need a channel to report if you're a victim of bullying, or cyberbullying. Some schools do it in a box with a letter, some other schools with a Google form, other schools with BraveUp, and that's one of the ideas. But I wasn't a victim and I wasn't an aggressor, a bully, you know. I was the witness. I was the guy that didn't like the situation, didn't like that is happening, but maybe I didn't say like stop doing that because I didn't want to be a bullying, you know? Like I don't want to be the victim if I do something. I don't want to be the victim if I say something because you know, change the like the victim change depending if what you're doing. So my point was like let's help, let's give some channel 24/7 to that students that they want to do something but they don't know what to do. And remember this, it's not their job to fix this problem. That's super important because a kid of 10 or 12 years old, she or he can't fix the problem of the bullying, you know, but she or he can report, can help us to know that this is happening. That it lets us to know that is in Roblox something happening, in TikTok something happening, on Instagram something happening. Because like a counselor, like a teacher, like a parent, I don't know, I don't understand that word. I'm not part of that word, but we need to know because we need to fix these problems, you know. And BraveUp is, of course, a directly message to the victim of bullying, like, don't worry, we're here, brave up, tell us, you know, talked about this, but also to this guy who's looking this situation. And with that report, you are helping a lot. I mean, you're changing all the game, you're changing all the situation, just and anonymous. Don't worry if you don't want to say your name. Don't worry, man. Don't worry. Use anonymous, but like super conscious, super um, sure about what you're talking about. Like it's not like a fake report, not like something that I think I know, something real. Do it, and it's a really powerful tool, man. That's the idea, and that's everything behind of that name is that idea, like brave of it, you know?
I love that because you made a good point there that the problem, we know that there's a need for the victim to have a place to speak up. And we know as a witness that we should speak up and, not to be silent. But usually there's no good forum. It's either with an online ID or you're going in person to tell somebody anonymously, but that still can get back. And so you created a tool to have people report, right? Witnesses can stand up because they don't know what to do, report it on BraveUp. And then not only that, you have the algorithm piece to it. And then, I think what's really interesting, the other piece is then talking to schools about what they can do to fix it. Because a lot of times it happens, somebody reports it if that's lucky, and then they reprimand them with like detention or something. And so there's
Yeah,
actual two-way conversations. And I know, if we went into the full thing on the conversation about Brave Up, there's, for the listeners out there, there's a whole side of Alvaro and his team are working with schools to create protocols on how to fix, not just, hey, here's reporting and here's the data. Like, what's that next step? And I know that's a big piece of Brave Up's future growth is to implement some of that. But I would like to switch gears for a minute because you're really passionate about your product, and it's come a long ways to where you are today with pre-seed funding. You've already launched the Latin America market, right? This is something that's already happening in Chile and Latin
yeah,
America. And so
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
like you just got funding and now you're trying to launch this. This has been validated.
Yeah,
How
we have
did
70 schools now using the software. Yeah.
70? That's amazing. So tell me about this. You started this when you're 25. Did you always know you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Did you always think, hey, I want to solve, I see a problem and fix it? Like, how did you get into this idea of entrepreneurship and saying, I want to be the person to build a company to fix something?
Yeah, yeah. This yeah. I think that everything started in my like my parent is an entrepreneur. You know, he's an entrepreneur. He studied construction, but he had different ideas, and he always was talking in the table, eating together in the family about the team, about the mission, about the next step, about this growing, about the next project. You know, and for me it was like wow, super excited. I mean, I have pictures of me like 4 or 5 years old, sitting in the this Apple computer, this Apple computer of of my dad, like working, like living, like I'm going to do this. I don't know what, but I'm going to be like in that energy, like doing stuff, doing prayer and stuff. So for me, always was that the idea. I wanted to be an actor in the school. Then I wanted to study to be a journalist. And yeah, when you're a teenager, you change your mind. But um, I studied business in the university, so I was super like focusing, like this is the next step. I didn't know what to do exactly in the first moment, but I knew that I wanted to do my own stuff, And the second, it was like it has to be global, It has to be global. It's not just to Chile, it's not just to Latin America. This has to be global. I mean, for me, always was like, boom. This has to be like, boom, huge. And in the university, I started different ideas with a classmate in a different projects. They didn't work, and I started to sell some stuff here and there. And actually, I didn't have like many good pre-ideas. And when I was like in the last years of the university, when I was 25, this we created with a classmate this first like MVP. We launched this to the school, and I received that report that I told you. And for me, I think that this is what happened. That report becoming in my purpose, like in the last 7 years of my life, I have been like working every day to that purpose. It's like uh, I don't know why, I don't know how, I don't know what changed in myself, but I focus there, and I have pivot my solution. I have pivot my business model. I have pivot my technology. I have pivot my team. I have changed my partners in the company. I have changed everything, man. But the purpose, the problem is that focus. Like, I, yeah, yeah,
So as always, I mean, coming from your family and your father being, somebody who really drove innovation, drove your ideation, your energy of entrepreneurship, and that you knew that you were going to do something that you could create, inspire, and build, which is awesome. And you know, it's interesting to see how these things come together of what that solution looks like. And you talked about, you've 7 years, you've been going 70 schools already. Your pre-seeds come in. It's been a long time coming for you to grow and scale at what you've been trying to do. So you know, what are some of the challenges that you had to overcome? We were talking pre-show. Originally this idea started as a social experiment in an app, and somebody reported it, and all these things kind of fell into place. But what were some of the things that you've had to go against? I mean, what are some of the challenges that you faced for the last 7 years to get to where you are today? Because I want to get into, what's been some of the big overcoming defining moments for the company. And what are some of the things that maybe you failed at that was a tough lesson to learn, but it's beneficial today?
yeah. I think that every moment is super difficult when you're an entrepreneur. I think that. I mean, I saw all the movies and everything, and I love to be an entrepreneur, but it's hard to be an entrepreneur. It's like it's not easy. Every day is difficult. Every day you have a different like challenge that you have to fix, and problem that you have to fix. And I think it's in the first time, for me, the most difficult part was the product market fit. Like exactly that the schools needs. Because I wanted to have this social media app. I wanted to be the next Snapchat or something like that. I wanted to be that in the schools, but the schools didn't want that. They didn't want to pay for an app. They didn't want to pay for a social media for the students. They need another tool. So I had to understood that, and in the first time, uh, like all the like books and everything say like you have to do it faster in 18 months. You need to have this product market fit and everything. But I for me was like 5 years, man. It was like 5 years going and talking to the schools, try to raise some funds, try to create this team. So it was really difficult to create this product market fit. After that, when you you do that and you have your first sales and you're growing. For me was the team, like this, the right team, this match, this perfect with the experience, with young guys, with persons of different social categories, social places, cities, and it's not easy, it's hard because you have to, you're the CEO, you are the founder, it's your idea. They expect that you have some answers from the questions, and sometimes you don't have the answer of the question, and you have to like, man, let's find it together because I don't have it. I created this like 3 years ago. This is like new for everyone, And now that I'm playing this like new kind of league that is like VCs, angel investment, and all investment deck and all that stuff. Um, for me, it's like be this perfect middle between the energy and the serious part. Not too passionate like I am, because I'm too passionate. Sometimes more like cold mind, super cold. Like this is the best decision. This is not the best decision. Sometimes it's hard to like stop because it's the dream. It's like we're doing it. We're going to New York City. We're going to launch this. And this has been so hard, but I think that's for me in the personal is like my challenge today. Try to be super like this 7 years have to be something. It's like the moment to be so cold, so easy, sometimes not too anxious. Yeah, I think that's now. Yeah.
Awesome. So, I mean, you know, bringing that all together is some of the big challenges where it took you 5 years to get product market fit. Partly because what you wanted was to create the next Snapchat, a social app, and what schools, and not only schools, but what students needed was something very different. And to figure that out and also have to pivot away from something that you're super passionate about,
Yeah.
it wasn't easy, from that first person who reported something into turning it into an actual usable product, a viable product.
and Uh, and that was, I think, the most difficult part because we raised a lot of grants, a lot of prizes, a lot of money to do that, to keep doing it. And we have success cases every month and every year. So I have money, I have awards, I have recognition in the like ecosystem of Chile. It was like, look, this social media anti-bullying platform, look, this social media anti-bullying software. And it was like super like newspapers and everything. So you start to believe that the schools are wrong, that you are right, And it's like, man, they're wrong because everyone in the ecosystem, that the ecosystem is this. It's not your client, it's not your industry, just your guys, your friends, And I think that's why in the first, I think, 2 years it was like super like woo, believing that I was a real entrepreneur. I wasn't. I was just like starting, but yeah. It was hard to understand and realize like, okay, the market is talking, the school are talking, like, listen, man, it's like, yeah, do it.
Yeah, sometimes it's really easy for us to say that we know better because we know what the ecosystem wants, but we don't actually listen to our customers. And sometimes you have to understand that your customer is not the ecosystem. And I think that's a really tough lesson to learn. And the reason I bring this up is, it sounds like amazing, from where you started to where you are today. We talked about the high points, but we forget that, this is the bare necessity of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship isn't easy. And in those 5 years, from the first person that used your app to raising money to now come to the US market, was 5 years of a lot. 2 years of product market fit and thinking that you were right and they were wrong. Another couple of years of realizing and realigning.
Mm.
Then building the right team. Building teams are never easy. One of the biggest mistakes founders make is they make wrong hiring decisions. I mean, you've scaled the company from you to now, what,
Yeah.
17 employees, I think you have, something about there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not
Exactly.
easy to do. I'm sure there's some, bad hires along the way, some people who left, some people who've had to let go.
Yeah.
But that's part of this journey. And when you start building a team and start thinking, okay, who, not how, right? Who do I need in my
Mm.
organization? You're passionate, high energy. Who can help mellow me out? Who can be a more rational, pragmatic decision maker? Who's a critical thinker that's going to lay it out in black and white? so that we bring these things down and you bring those
Mm.
skills and team into the organization as well. So, I mean, I love that. The journey is one that is long. Did you ever want to quit? Did you ever think about quitting?
Yeah, many times. I mean, I think that two times in these years we didn't have money to pay the team. Like I had a car, I had my lovely car. I had to sell my car, and I have to like okay, bye bye car. Let's pay the salaries this month and everything. And I remember one time when my CTO in that moment he was hired with another company, and he left the company from like Friday to Monday, and it was like wow, explosion inside of the team. We were in the middle of the development of the software. We couldn't like finish the day to the schools and everything. And yeah, in that moment, we didn't have many schools. We didn't have nothing, and it was like I can quit. You know, it's like I can do it. But you know, I think that the purpose is bigger. It's like fire. It's like I don't know, and I don't see myself working in a bank, working in a traditional company, working for other guy from, you know, Chile is like a minor country, you know, all the all the Chileans work in a minor company, and I don't see myself doing that. I don't want to destroy my world. I want to change the world. I want to improve the world. I want to like try to the schools. It has a very environment, you know. It's like I don't know if I think that's like connect to myself, and I have the lucky, I have the super lucky. I have to say that I have my parents always like backing me up. Like, don't worry, we can help you if you need something. You can come to live a few months here in the house if you can pay the rent and everything. So I have that support, and I have to say because sometimes you say, hey, if you're not telling how you eat, you know, yeah, I have that sometimes that support. And I tried to sell everything that I had. I tried to always do some stuff, some freelance working, to freelance stuff, these freelance classes in the university, and everything. Tried to do that, and yeah, I think that moment also when you're going to pay something or go to the ATM and you don't have the money. I think that moment also is super hard. You know, it's like you see your friends, you see your sister, your brother that they're growing, they have jobs, they're doing something awesome, they have money. It's like I really want to do it. I'm 28, man. I'm soon 30, and you have this pressure of the 30 and blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, I think sometimes that moments are super hard, and that moment is not easy to like fix it. You know, I think that yeah, that hurt also. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that because it's hard. Like you got to sell your car to
yeah,
pay salaries, and what you know, we have this glorified view that you have a great idea, you validate it, you're going to get funding, and you scale it, and
yeah,
there's all these things. What people don't realize is that that doesn't usually happen. And even if you do, you're playing with house money. You've got investors or the bank wanting their loan money back. At some point, that money's got to go back,
yeah,
and you have to have a plan for that. And so, I went the normal route and did different things until I hit entrepreneurship, and then I started two companies. And it's one of those things that for me, I see all of my friends like have the house, the car, the kids, and that's amazing. That's their
yeah,
journey. Like their journey is impressive because it's theirs. But I was like, that's not mine, and I need to stop comparing myself to them. And that was a hard lesson to learn. And a lot of times it's like you get a nice paycheck coming in, and you're like, oh yeah, I got to pay that right off into paying my employees, or upgrade my website, or buying this
yeah.
for the team, or buying that for the company, or doing these things. And you're just like, wait a second. It's really just like, put it in my right hand, put it in my left hand, and then it's gone. That's entrepreneurship. That's running a business. And I think it's really important that those that get into entrepreneurship, yes, you're going to have people around you to help, and supportive parents, and maybe you have some money in the bank, you saved up, all these things, but that's not everyone's case. I think it's really important that people understand that they can't just find somebody to fix their problems. And when you're an entrepreneur, you got to fix all of it. You got to come in and do it, and then as you build and make those things happen. So I appreciate you sharing that. It's I think we tend to have a very glorified view that things very optimistic view that's just going to happen. It's going to be there. It's going to be fine. When reality is it's not, and there's a lot more that goes into it. And you forget that you have to be your own admin. You got your own scheduling. You got your own sales, your
Exactly.
own marketing, your own product. So and I
Yeah.
think it's really important. I think whenever an entrepreneur says, "Oh, I was never going to give up," I never even thought about it. I kind of throw the bullshit flag because the only reason you're so passionate about it is because you did think about giving up and you realize, you know what? Fuck that. If I gave up,
Yeah.
I would be
Yeah.
unhappy. I'd regret it. And that was the motivation to keep me going through it. I think it's more important to like, let's highlight that hey, at one point I thought about giving up. I wasn't sure if this was right for me, but I knew that I loved what I was doing. It made me happy as hell to go to work every day and to work on this project. So I'm going to keep going, even if I want to quit. And
Yeah.
that's the mindset of an entrepreneur, right? There's being an entrepreneur, and there's that mindset piece that comes in. So I appreciate you sharing that. So you're coming to New York City here at the end of August. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
when this
Now.
launches, it'll be probably in September. So you'll just gotten to New York City. So what are those plans? So when you get here and you start building here, what are those things you're looking for to scale? Are you looking for companies right away? Are you going to be hiring a US team? Like, what is day one look like for Alvaro now that US expansion is a go?
Well, we're working with the startup ventures in New York, and we also were selected by New Chip Accelerator of Austin, Texas, the number one online program of acceleration. So they choose us also, and the first idea is try to find this next round of investment, this seed round of between 500K to 1 million. That's the next round that we're thinking, and we have the product ready. We have the algorithm. We want to know the American market. We have this free model, student model, a school community model, different prices, and the free model we want to launch many schools. So we think it's going to be like a lot of percent of the money to the growth hacking, sales, marketing. Like the people knows that we're here and we have this solution and we have this free model, this cheap model, and everything. Um, is that the first step? Like grown, start to have a lot of meeting of different schools, launch this product, start to see what happened. What's the feeling of the schools? What the feeling of the counselor? And we're super open to change again if the counselor needs another feature, if they don't understand the same that way that they look the relationship of the Latin American market. I mean, that's the idea of this first year. Like, try to learn, try to listen, try to create this better product, but always with the customer. We already did in Chile, in Latin America, so we went to there, and yeah, start to grow, and see what happened with it with startup and with new chip. I mean, I think that in the next 3 or 4 months, maybe we're going to change a lot the way that we sell, the way that how we communicate our solution and everything. So yeah,
Yeah, I
we're
mean,
in that
one of the first
in that
things you got to
step.
do when you come here is, put all those processes in place to start the conversations. But if that seed happens the next 3 to 6 months, it really accelerates the way that you go out and take your message to the market. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of happens in it's gonna be important
Yeah.
3 to 6 months. So if in Bear Nation, if anybody is a school counselor or is close to school counselors that'd be interested in talking with Alvaro, please, we'll have his contact information at the end of the episode of the show notes for you to connect him up and have an intro conversation and start learning about what BraveUp can do for your schools or for your school community. When you come out into the market, you talk about starting in Austin. Are you going to go after the whole U.S. market? Are you going to start down in like Florida, Miami, and kind of capitalize the Latin American connection? Do you have a plan on how you're rolling out across the U.S.? Because you try to hit the whole U.S. is going to be a bit exhausting. So do you have a bit of a
No,
plan?
yeah, it's impossible. It's impossible. No, no, no. It's like crazy to think that we're gonna do it like in the beginning. All the reggae is now. It's too big, man. It's huge. I mean, a fun fact: just the state of Florida has more schools than all Chile. That huge is the market in America, man. It's like,
That's what's crazy.
yeah, it's crazy. For us, it's what like what? all these countries is less than just one state in America. Not, but for us, the first step is New York, actually Starta and these schools. In America, you have three kind of schools: public, private, and public charter schools. So for us, the first target market is this public charter school because they're more innovative. They have this budget to this software. They have the budget for this kind of um, um, software. So that's our for market of New York and also Texas because the accelerator is in Texas in Austin. So that's the first market. After that, Florida is the next step. I mean, we know that some places in Florida they speak a lot of Spanish. I mean, just Spanish in some places. So yeah, it's super like Latin American solution to a Latin American places is perfect. So that's the first like idea. New York, Austin, then Miami, I think, or some part of Florida, and then what happened? I don't know. I mean, that's the idea of the software. I mean, maybe it's scaling faster than we think. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We don't know
Well,
what's
we're
gonna happen.
excited to
Yeah,
see it launch. We're excited to see it grow and scale. And obviously it's going to be a bit interesting because you have a team down in Chile that's still going to run for your South American and Latin American markets. So how you kind of manage both of those could be really intriguing. What advice would you give Gen Z, millennials, anyone's entrepreneurial minded out there looking to get into entrepreneurship? What advice did you give them?
for me, it's like try. It's not going to be easy to find what's your goal or your purpose. It's not simple, but it's not going to happen sitting in your house looking videos on YouTube. Sorry, man. Sorry, but we love to watch videos on YouTube, but that's not gonna work. So go outside. If you wanna sell ice cream, do it. If you wanna paint something, do it. If you wanna take pictures, do it. Try to see something, and then you're gonna find something that you didn't expect. I mean, uh, again, don't believe of that movie of the entrepreneur that like you said, like in I have an idea, I receive funds, I create that, and I'm a multimillionaire. That's not true. Go outside, live, learn a lot of any experience, and then maybe you're going to find this and you're going to in love of some problem of something
Love
like
that.
that.
Yeah. Be brave, right? Be brave and go
Be
experience. I
brave,
love
yeah, brave up, yeah,
that.
exactly, yeah.
So what is your superpower?
I talk super fast. And for the pitch, for the elevator pitch is amazing, man. No, I think that I see the life like a circle, you know? So if sometimes when I'm in the down of the circle, I don't see that I'm the down part of the circle. I just preparing for this the next up part, you know? That's how I see the problems. Like when I have one problem, two problems, three problems, I think like, oh, what's coming, man? What's that big good news that is coming? Because I'm preparing for that. So I think that that's my superpower. If you send me a real bad feedback of you give me some hate stuff of my software, I'm going to use it to improve, to prepare to some bigger. So I think that's my superpower. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I love that. Kind of that never give up moment, right? Like, had you
yeah,
think about quitting or giving up on the company and ending it? Yeah, but you knew that something better was just around the corner. It was going to come back and swing
yeah.
back up for you. So I love that. Awesome. So, what is your lasting message? As you think about this podcast, what do you want to say to everyone out there?
Yeah, for everyone who is listening this and is if you're living some problem, some issue, if you're a victim of violence in the school, in your house, with your parents, with your partner or wherever, my good energy, my hug, and try to find some help. Try to report, try to speak up and be brave up because we care about you. That's always we always say that in any interview that we do. We have to. It's like a mission of the team. Um, for all of their like you can do it, man. It's like the dreams come true. I'm not from Santiago de Chile. I'm not from the capital. I'm from the north part of this country, a small country. Chile is a small country. My city is smaller than that, and I'm in a 20 days and coming to live for a year in one of the most amazing cities, like this New York City. And for me, it's like wow, it's insane, just the journey. So be brave, be strong. You're gonna have really bad days, really, really, really bad days, but sometimes something is coming, something better is coming. So I think that's my last message. Like, be prepared for the good news, and when you are in that bad moment, in that sad news, in that awful feedback or bad review of your app, be prepared, listen that, fix that, and go for it, man. You can do it. So it's that. Thank you for your time, and this is my first time speaking in English that time. So thank you very much. I hope that everyone understood everything. So thank you a
I,
lot.
I I love it. I love being able to be the the first English podcast doing all this.
Yeah,
I think that's a
yeah,
great lasting message. Yeah, if you're you or somebody you know is affected by bullying, there's tons of resources out there and support in that community. If you're always looking for resources, contact BraveUp and they can point you to other relevant resources. Alvaro, thank you so much for being a part of the show. I will make sure to have your Twitter, your LinkedIn, the company page, all and your email all in the show notes. So if you're wanting to follow or connect with Alvaro, you can connect with him on Twitter, LinkedIn, email, uh, and learn a little bit more. And thank you so much, my guy. It was just a lot of fun. I can't wait to have you in New York City. I know when this episode drops, you'll probably have been here. We probably already had a beer, but when you
yeah,
get
for
here and you
sure.
get
I'm
settled
waiting for
in,
that.
one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to go grab a beer. We'll celebrate briefly on the big win, and I'll probably switch gears and be like, okay, like what's next? Like, let's go. Right. So you celebrate wins, you get 24 hours to celebrate, you get 24 hours to, if you lose, but then, short mindset. I've been watching too much Ted Lasso, be a goldfish, have that forgetful memory and move forward. So, kind of like you're always just, hey, it's going to come back up. So I love it. Alvaro, thank you. Bear Nation, thanks for tuning in again. Make sure you subscribe. If you're on Apple, please leave us a review. It'd be super helpful. Thank you so much. Alvaro, thank you for being a part of Bear Nation, my friend.
Thank you, man. Bye bye.
Bear Nation, thanks for listening to the bare necessities of entrepreneurship. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review.